You just got back from Florida?
Yes. We were gone for about 2 months.
Okay.
In our motorhome.
Nice.
We went down to Punta Gorda, then over to Boca Raton, and then Naples, where I've decided to move.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
It's a good call.
Naples is a good spot.
My husband's retired. I'm not, so.
Okay.
I'm like, well, we'll set up residence there when it's cold.
You're halfway there.
Yeah.
Well, the motorhome's allergic to anything under 30 degrees, so.
I've not heard that before, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
I stole it from my husband.
That's a good line.
You know, the cold didn't used to bother me. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, but as I continued to get a little bit older, it's like, I get it. And you do one time, you'll do, my wife's father lives in Florida full time, and we did Christmas down there, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And at first it was kind of like, it's going to be weird. There's no snow. It's going to be cold. And I was like, wow, I can kind of actually get used to this. This isn't bad.
Yeah.
Completely agree with that.
Christmas tree's still up. Santa still found his way to the house.
Yep.
I've been trying to talk my husband into that for years, because we leave Christmas Day and go to Florida for about a week and a half and meet all of our family down there. Yep. And I'm like, okay, I think it's time. We can move it up. Let's
2
just
weeks
go for
instead
2.
of a week and a half. Yep.
Well, yeah.
You're still good with it though, right?
The cold. Yeah, that's fine. You're young.
You're young.
With it.
You're young.
Yeah.
I more have been hoping that all of this snow that's happening on the East Coast will hit the West Coast, so we can I can go out skiing before.
I like watching skiing. I don't really want to be in the ski.
I probably shouldn't try skiing anymore for the risk of injury, but
I know.
it'll be fun.
It's scary.
We used to ski all the time growing up, and it was like about a 13 or 14 year window before I had skied again, and we just done the Denver thing.
Yeah.
And so Joe and my brother and I were out there and got on skis for the first time. And some people say, oh, it's like picking up, riding a bicycle. You just pick it right back up. And it kind of was, but now at that point in time, I was, probably give or take 45-ish. I was way not aggressive. I'm like, I made it this far, not blowing out an ACL. Like, I don't want to start now.
Yep.
So I was like, he's like, you're being a weenus. I'm like, yep.
I am.
Yes, and I'm okay with that.
All right. It is what it is.
Yep.
And my husband's from Albuquerque, and they did and had places up north near Shama, New Mexico, and they did a lot of snowmobiling.
Oh, cool.
A lot of snowmobiling.
Nice.
I haven't done it yet, but
I've never done that.
It's also in the cold, so I don't really care.
I'm good.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's exciting. As long as you don't do stupid stuff, it's fun.
Yeah.
Put on a plenty, snowsuit, all that.
Yeah,
helmet,
bundled up.
gloves.
It'll be
Pass.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
hard out.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's fair. Is this thing on? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Summits Podcast. Thank you all for joining us from wherever you get your podcasts. If you're joining us on the Heroes Foundation YouTube channel, thank you for doing so. If you're on there tuning in and you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so. It'll only take a second. And then while you're at it, hit the notification bell icon so you can be alerted when new episodes like this one drop. That would also be awesome. You can do it while you're snowmobiling if you want. It's that easy. All right, special guest today. This is the first for the Summits Podcast. We have twin sisters.
Hey.
So welcome, Liz Childers and Norma Unser. Welcome to the Summits Podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
What was the maiden name? You guys are both married, correct?
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Okay, so the Lawrence twins are in the house.
Yes, we are.
All right, so you guys can decide who wants to go first, or you can fight over it, however you guys typically figure it out. But just give us a little background intro on yourselves.
Okay.
Well, I'll say that she always says the only thing I ever did first was be born, because she's always first at everything, and then she said that's just because I kicked you out. So I'll let you go, Liz.
That was nice.
Well, yes. I guess just a quick intro. I mean, we're originally from Southern Indiana. I've been in Indianapolis now I came here right after college, so I won't really admit how long I've been here. Mm-hmm. My husband's from Southern Indiana as well. I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers for almost 15 years until recently. Then I moved to a local accounting firm, DOZ. I was head of marketing there. Amazing firm. But about a year now, had to step back from work due to metastatic breast cancer, which we'll talk about later. I have twin daughters as well and a son. And I currently live in Zionsville. And I was originally diagnosed 7 years ago now.
Jeez.
Yeah, 7 years ago with breast cancer. I know you want to quickly just give a little background on yourself.
Norma Unser here, and from Southern Indiana. I guess I don't need to repeat all
We're
that.
about Southern Indiana. Did you guys grow up?
Evansville.
Eville, okay.
We're very proud of USI. We went to USI there. Moved to Indy. Chased my sister here 'cause she graduated before me. And I'd kind of say my job world has been, I always tease that it's a bit schizophrenic. I started out after college in medical devices, and then eventually ended up back in Indy, where I've worked in nonprofit space, the political space, lobbying, fundraising. I run a foundation right now for the RHI, the Rehab Hospital of Indiana. And then I've owned a yarn shop. I'm an avid knitter, knit every day. And
has tried for many years to get me to do it.
Yes.
Just don't.
I met my husband here a little bit over we married 5 years here in Indy. And he's not familiar with Indy, but he's been around Indy a lot, especially the Oval. And first time we met, I asked him where he lived. He asked me if I lived in Zion. I said Zionsville, and he's like, "Is that north or south?" I'm like, "How do you not know where Zionsville is? And you won the 500
Just outside Turn 4.
He's like, "I'm from Albuquerque." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I just assumed every driver was from Indianapolis.
That's fair.
Anyway, so now we live in Brownsburg, Avon area, and travel.
And I will say, I remember when she first started dating Al. She sent me the very first time she'd gone to the Indy 500. She was on the track riding with him around the Oval. I'm like, that's one way to see the race.
Yeah.
Not a bad first experience.
Not a
bad
VIP.
first experience.
I've got my standards.
He's been a great addition to the family. So.
Yeah.
Well said. All right. So you guys are in Zville now. Growing up in Evansville, what was the plan? Was the plan always to come to Indy, or did you figure to stay down there and
go south? That was the only plan.
Go further south.
And of everyone here, she came north, and it was because of her husband that they weren't married yet.
I came because I wanted a job.
Yeah.
And it was either 2 hours north or 2 hours south.
Oh,
and at the time, our mom was battling cancer. It was like her third round of breast cancer. And it just was hard to move too far away. And so my first job opportunity came to Indianapolis. And it just so happened that my boyfriend was here. So now my husband.
You got to give Grant a little credit for that. Come on.
Yeah.
That worked out well. Well, you kind of alluded to it, so we'll kind of segue into that. You said your mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and then I think I saw that she passed in 2004. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And you said she went through 3 different battles. Was it?
She went through 3 different. Well, she went through 3 different cancers.
I always say it like this. She had thyroid cancer when we were in grade school.
Okay.
She had lymphoma when we were in high school, and then breast cancer after the lymphoma, which lasted through our college years.
Okay. Sounds eerily familiar to my mother-in-law, my wife's mom. Very similar.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. Yeah. So in college, she was battling breast cancer. She was one of the first to really experience a bone marrow transplant for breast cancer at Barnes Hospital. I'll never forget that.
Not either. She had gone down to MD Anderson with the lymphoma and then her first breast cancer, and they had collected her bone marrow there. So when she went to do this bone marrow transplant, which at that time was very, very experimental, they were able to use her own bone marrow, which hadn't had cancer in it yet. So the chances of it working were supposed to be better because it was her bone marrow, but initially it didn't.
Yeah.
Did they ever, and I'm sure you guys already asked this, but did they ever say there was a link between the 3, or it's hard to tell?
No,
So those 3 completely separate types of cancers.
Yeah.
We do think that when she was in high school, she had been treated for bad acne with what was she treated with?
I don't
Like a radiation almost on her face.
Okay. Wow.
And so a lot of my grandfather, they think maybe that led to all the cancers at some reason. But that's what my aunt and family think that could have been attributed to all of them.
Sure. Okay.
But ultimately the breast cancer is what spread to her brain, and what ultimately she died from. So she fought hard. Her doctor called her his miracle patient, because I do feel she worked really hard to make sure we were okay before she left. I'd been married about a year. I'm so glad she made it through to my wedding.
Yeah.
And then she lived maybe 3 or 4 months after our first year anniversary.
Okay.
I've a lot of regrets from then. I wish, sometimes you're like, gosh, I should have had kids earlier so she met my babies. But then, I know her, and raising me to be the person I am, she would not want me to do that for her. She'd want me to do it for me. And eerily, a lot of those feelings that I had, I now wonder how my kids will handle what I'm going through. Sure. And what led me ultimately to this, hopefully working with the Cancer Vaccine Coalition to...
Now, let me add to that too. She said she wished there were some things she'd done differently. When you were in a young age, right? We were in our 20s, not as mature as we are now. But, the more and more we learn about mental health, I can see some of the things that I did were as a relation to pushing her away, right? Because I knew it was going to happen. And I'm seeing the opposite with her girls. They're getting closer, but I now know, and I'm at peace with that was my younger version trying to protect my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
How old was your mom when she passed?
54?
53.
Oh, 53.
Okay.
Yeah.
53.
That you need to introduce guys to my wife, because their story is almost identical.
Oh,
wow.
really?
That's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that you just said are like things that she has said have come out of her mouth as well.
Oh.
But we'll go down. We'll touch on that later. Okay. So number one, I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then fast forward to either whoever wants to go.
Yep.
One of your guys' stories.
Yeah. Well, I was, I will start with, right before I was diagnosed, maybe about a year or two, they were really coming out with the BRCA gene and the testing and all of that. And so being identical twins, Norma went and got the test, and she came back. She's like, we don't have the gene. And I'm like, yes, I am scot-free. I'm not going to get breast cancer. It was a fluke that my mom had it. So to be perfectly honest, I missed some mammograms. You get busy with work and kids, and I put it off. And, it's not a pleasant experience, so I didn't really want to do it. And so I just had this false sense of security. But then one day, it was October 1st, and I went in and I was doing a self-exam, and I'm like, what is that? And it felt like a golf ball in my left breast. And I was like, no, please don't be, please don't be, please don't be. And I'm a very quiet person when something happens to me, so I just didn't say anything to anybody for a while. Went in, got the mammogram, and immediately that day, the day before I had told a friend, and she's like, you got to tell your husband, you got to tell Grant. And I was like, I'm not going to do it, but I did. And I said, but I don't want anybody there. It's just a biopsy. They're just going to go in and they're going to look at it. And immediately they wanted to talk to me. Like immediately after the mammogram, they wanted immediately biopsy it that day. And I called my husband and I said, hey, and he said, I'm in the lobby. And so he came in, and basically they diagnosed me right there. And so
kudos to Grant on that, by the way.
Yeah. A win for Grant.
Yeah.
He's learned a lot over time. But after that, it was kind of the normal route that most people that are diagnosed for the first time go down. I was told to get the mastectomy first and then get chemotherapy and radiation. I went in and I met with all the doctors that I wanted to meet with. They were great. Did the mastectomy, which, oh Lord, there's a lot of thoughts I have. I can give on that, but I can do that later too. And then chemotherapy, and then you're done again, and you think, oh,
You're good.
that's in the rear view mirror, right? I mean, I'm not gonna, this is all behind me. And so 5 years later, I was in Florida at Christmas and looked in the mirror, and I'm like, gosh, what's that bruise on my left breast? And by this time I have implants and you can't feel anything. So I thought, oh, I ran into something and I didn't feel it. And so I called my doctor, went in and looked at it, and it was my breast cancer in the exact same spot before. And it had spread, which I didn't mention previously. It was in my lymph nodes as well. So I had 11 lymph nodes removed the first time. And so now it had spread to my lymph nodes in my lungs. And within 3 to 4 months after finding it, it had moved to my liver. So I had 2 spots on my liver, which I have now. They're still there. So it's been a journey the last 2 years, just realizing that, there is no cure for this. And I've been getting treatment in MD Anderson. I'm on my 5th type of treatment.
Okay.
I've gone through one trial. I've gone through a bunch of different things. And so I'm actually at the point where this is the last standard of care option. I'm very hopeful that it's working. I'll go back in the end of March. I'll go to Houston at MD Anderson and I will get my scans and I'll find out if it's working.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but then she was diagnosed.
So, fun. Like I said, she does everything first. And it was, I had moved to Zionsville from downtown to be closer to her. It just happened to be the week before COVID shut down.
Okay.
Because she was going through the chemotherapy and I wanted to be closer. I decided to, go, okay, I need to be regular on my mammograms, things like that. And it was April 27th, the day after our birthday, that I was diagnosed. I was so blessed to have caught it really, really early, basically calling it stage 0. And, that was just crazy to have to tell her, that this is happening, and decided to do a double mastectomy. And because I thought, heck, at first I thought, oh, I'm going to be a good big C now. I've never been bigger than an A, or barely a B, right? And so we tend to make jokes of things, but anyway.
It's okay. You're amongst good company.
Good.
And one of the things she mentioned, she's quiet.
HR just told me to shut up.
Yeah.
I'm about to say something.
So she tends to be a little bit more quiet. I'm a little bit more expressive. And so get a little bit more emotional. And that's the one thing that I focused on, was being strong for her, and not being drama for her. And that was a big lesson for me. And it really grew me up a little bit in that time. And watching her go through this, I'm like, I don't want to have to do this. She's already lost her hair. But I had to wait because of COVID to have that double mastectomy till July 1st, because it was actually considered elective.
Okay.
So I had the double mastectomy, and it had originally been in my right breast. They found it in my left. So I'm so glad I did the double.
Yeah.
But we don't know if it was growth from that time of diagnosis, when they would have normally had me have surgery quicker than July 1st. And my road is a little bit different. I had probably 9 to 10 surgeries, with infection, with the expanders, with doing implants. And I didn't know what I know now. And I talk to women every day to learn more about this process. It's not a bib job. Okay. And it is not. And the what you put your body through, I don't think I've ever known anyone that's had a double mastectomy with reconstruction that hasn't had infections,
Right. Okay.
or a smooth road.
Yep.
And so anyway, I lived alone, which was also very challenging when you're having that many surgeries. The last surgery I decided to do happened the day before I decided after my wedding. So I woke up my wedding morning, which was supposed to be just like we were having an engagement party. So we were surprising everybody that we're actually getting married.
Okay.
I woke up that morning and had
In my yard.
Yeah, in her yard.
In my
We
house.
planned it in less than 2 weeks. And I woke up and had an infection. And I had both my implants finally were in and looked great. And
Yeah.
I called my doctor, who was actually coming to the party. And I said, I'm not having surgery today, because you typically have to go into surgery right then.
Immediately.
And I said, you're fixing me up because it's a wedding day, not just a party. So he did. He fixed me up for that day. And everyone's asked me where I'm going on my honeymoon. I'm like, I'm going to the OR tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Can't wait, So that's kind of where my story goes. I did eventually, after that last surgery, my husband said, I'm an ass man anyway. Don't do this anymore. So I chose not to. So now I say I have prostheses.
Okay.
And it's led to me feeling more like me. So
It's good.
Yeah.
Good. Wow.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, the implant process is, I mean, it gets glossed over, I think, a lot when you think about the treatments. I was in the hospital for about 7 days with an infection on IV antibiotics. It was awful. Being away from your family, just not feeling good. And, you look back and I'm like, God, was that worth it? I mean, should that even be part of the process? You should be really thinking about your health and your internal workings of your body, than thinking about the way you look immediately. So anyway, and now a lot of times I've heard now that a lot with the treatments, they've moved chemo first and mastectomies second, which I actually think makes so much sense, because you can see if the medicine's really working. So I've known several people that have done that over the last couple of years, switched it up. But so I can go on and on about that.
Yeah, I think part of that process, I think too, and I'm obviously not a physician, but they want to see if they can shrink the tumor. Depending on the size, they want to shrink it as much as possible. I would say that probably aids in the surgical removal, depending on what the surgery is. But
well, and they don't want to stop your chemo. Like right now, the original tumor that came back is still there, and it's actually growing outside of the skin at this point, because there's nowhere else for it to go because of the implant. But I can say, and that's one reason I said I was hopeful about my 2 treatments, I can tell that it's getting smaller. And so that's why I'm like, I'm kind of glad we left it in there. I can kind of see this happening. So
Track some progress.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, we'll see.
And I'll say so that was 2 years ago in February was when you were first diagnosed. And that's around that time was when I discovered the Cancer Vaccine Coalition. If you want, I can go into that because it's been a passion of mine for the last couple of years. I happen to be, actually, my aunt sent me literally a picture of a newspaper. She reads the newspaper every day with a story about this. And so I Googled it and I found it, and it was Kristen Dahlgren from the Today Show. It was an announcement of her leaving to be the founder of this organization. She's a survivor of breast cancer, along with several people at NBC and the Today Show. And she had done a story about how many women, I can't remember, about this trial that happened in 2016 for women with advanced stage breast cancer. And it was, they say the word vaccine, but it's an injectable treatment. It's not meant to be, we say the word vaccine, but the medical community really hasn't come up with a better word for it. So I try and educate versus trying to change the name of it. But anyway, it showed, and I can get you the stats. I always forget. I'm so bad with numbers, but the majority of those women were terminal in breast cancer. One woman was told, go home and get your things in order. They had life expectancy to 4 years. they were all still alive with no new cancer 10 years later.
Yeah, there was 3. See, I did bring my notes.
Oh, good.
So that
Because I like to make it big. I'm like, oh my gosh, they were all cured.
No, but the middle dose, because there were 3 doses, the middle dose was 80% of the patients with advanced stage breast cancer are still alive 10 years later after the vaccine.
Wow.
80%. And they were advanced stage. I mean, right now with just chemotherapies, you're looking at max 5 years. I mean,
right.
At least
And just to be clear, so they were already diagnosed.
they were already diagnosed.
Then received the, we'll call it vaccine. And then
They live for 10 plus
and
years.
is this, I mean, I'm oversimplifying because in my mind, it's like a flu shot. It's a vaccine, right?
Yeah.
So it's one shot. Is that
It's
Yes.
process of like
Yeah, it was
a
3
series
shots.
of shots? 3 shots.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
3 shots.
How spaced out between the 3?
I am
maybe?
not sure.
curious.
I do know that, it's the thought process is kind of the same around the vaccine, except your body, with like you get a vaccine for a virus or something, it's because
your immune system.
your body
Yeah.
doesn't know how to fight that.
Yep.
Where with this vaccine, it's really teaching your immune system to target and kill it.
Sure.
And so some of the vaccine trials are 1 or 2, series of vaccines. I think after the third trial, it was 70% had lived 10 plus years. And so I think it's just,
Yeah, so
that was the one University of Washington when Kristen saw that, she was like, why are we not talking about
why don't I know
Yes.
about this?
Right.
Why? She
Yeah.
doesn't, she has got a young daughter. She doesn't want it to come back again. And that's everyone's fear. When is it going to come back? Is it going to come back?
Yeah.
And so she's a brave woman who had an amazing career, been at the Today Show for over 30 years, 20 years, and decided to leave because she didn't see by doing anything about it. And so I remember talking to her for the first time, and
Well,
I
let's just say
said-
Norma,
I
she's
did
like a
stalk
dog
her.
with a bone.
I am. Yeah, so that's it. I'm watching
how'd you get introduced, or how'd you make your way to
Well,
introduction?
let
with
me
it?
tell you. So I was watching this, and I'm like, how do I know about this? Why don't I know about this? And so I reached out through the website. I reached out through NBC. I went to their social media, and it didn't take long for her to pay attention to me. Number one, I was sending them every story that we had done in the media. We've done quite a few. And I was like, I have a platform. I can spread and share this story.
Yeah.
We have a great story, but I also have the motorsports community that I can talk about. And that's not just Indianapolis. That's the country. And how can I utilize that platform that I'm so blessed to have? How can I use Al, right?
Yeah.
And so we had a conversation. We got on the phone. I told her our stories, and I said, you know what, Kristen, this is my best friend. This is my life. I don't have children, so her kids are my kids. I'm going to have to cure cancer. And she started laughing and said, that's exactly what I said to my husband. And he said, go for it. And so she bravely set out. This is a journalist going to, we're a nonprofit world, right? That's a totally different world. Fundraising, networking, doing all that we do, learning the interactive, how do you raise funds? How do you get grants? These things.
Well, then in the medical community, which I think is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Of when you look at that and you see these statistics that Kristen saw, you're like, well, why aren't we all getting this vaccine? Well, then you start pulling back the covers a little bit, and you see that there's phase 1 trials, there's phase 2 trials, there's phase 3, and then how much money it takes to really fund all those. And then one of the biggest hurdles is getting the people in the trials. So because, once you start to learn about that medical process and that, research process, you have to really determine, like, these hospitals don't talk to each other.
Right. Very siloed.
Right? The researchers aren't talking to each other because it's their intellectual capital. It's their research.
Right.
And there's privacy laws. So I could be the perfect...
But at the same time, we don't want somebody on the East Coast performing, lab projects that have already been done on the West Coast.
Yeah.
That prove
100%.
that they didn't work, and now we're wasting more time and money.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Well,
and there could be the perfect vaccine trial for me, in Chicago, and I have no way of knowing about that unless you know how to go through the trials database, which is
a nightmare. And so I will say that was one of, as Kristen got out there and learned, and was, we have so much proprietary information. How do we share it? Well, what part of that was opened the door by Oracle and Larry Ellison talking about AI and how we have this information. We could have personalized vaccines to people within 48 hours.
Right.
And that doesn't have to be 20 years from now. So the goal is to move science faster and share.
Yeah.
And so what CVC has been able to do is bring researchers together and collaborate. And, I know we've all probably done like social style classes, things like that. What I started to notice is, we need all kinds of people around us to make us successful. And when you're in a medical environment, it's very technical. You got researchers that are researching.
Right.
They're not marketing, right?
Yeah.
They know how to get grants from the government, but do they know how to talk to family foundations? Do they know how to raise money in those ways? No. So we have to get there and be their cheerleaders.
Yeah.
We have to help the researchers,
because
the ones I have been so blessed to come in contact with, one specifically, Paula Pullman at MD Anderson.
Oh, she's
their passion
amazing.
is real.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how quickly this has all happened in the last 2 years is I go to the IU for some events, and they do some really good stuff there, and no one was talking about vaccines. I went to the same event this year. It was all about vaccines. And it was to the point of where IU says, we'll host it. MD Anderson, you've got it. We'll host it. That is
That's great.
never
Yeah.
would have happened.
Yeah.
You kind of answered two questions I had lingering in my head. One was, I suspect the vaccine's different. So if you're going to get one for breast cancer and I'm going to get one for lymphoma, the vaccine itself is going to be tailored for those different types of cancers. But is it only administered after a diagnosis?
That's what I was gonna ask
or
right
are they
now,
kind of in that gray area? I was trying to think about,
Well, that's
when do we get to the point of
preventative.
preventative? But then again, it's like, if it's tailored, what am I tailoring it to if you haven't
Right.
been diagnosed yet? I don't figure that out.
And that's the exciting thing right now that's happening is, and because I think about my nieces, right?
Yeah.
They're growing up seeing their mom, never met their grandmother, seeing their mom, their aunt going through this. How do we get it to prevent it from them?
Right.
And not only cure, but prevention. And, no one, for me, I've seen, I keep calling breast cancer an epidemic. If you think 1 in 8, it's much higher than that. And it's happening to younger women all the time. And I'm going, how is this not an epidemic? And I'm tired of the awareness. If you're not aware, I don't know where you've been, but let's talk cure.
Yeah.
Okay, not fix the side effects. We've done an amazing job in research in fixing the side effects of chemo that's just destroying.
Well,
your
and
body.
that's one thing that if you were to talk to Kristen, she said, and I agree. I look at what my mom's therapies were, and they aren't much different than what my therapy was. So what's really happened in the last 20 years?
Yeah.
Just, okay, I don't get nauseous as much, but where is the real, cure part? And so I think that's where the vaccines are going. Right now, the ones on the market are not preventative. They are for individuals that have had cancer, and it's for different cancers. There's I think there's one really progressing on colon cancer.
Okay.
And Cancer Vaccine Coalition really is looking at all the cancers, not just breast cancer.
Sure, yeah.
The difference though between all those and cancers is they're pretty much, if you have colon cancer, you have colon cancer. When you have breast cancer, there's so many different types. That's not true of all cancers. So the colon can be a lot more streamlined, right?
Well, I had a doctor explain it, and he's at IU, and it was after having cancer, as long as I've had it, it was the best description. He was like, well, breast cancer is it's like cookies. You could have a sugar cookie, or you could have a chocolate chip cookie, or a snickerdoodle, but they're all breast cancer. And so and it's all a cookie, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest difference to me. I was like, I get it, because you're just kind of like, you could have, like, honestly, last time I went and got my tumors evaluated, one was HER2 and one was no HER2. I mean, or HR positive. One was HR positive, one tumor wasn't. It's like, how is that possible? Well, it is very possible.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting that you mentioned colon, because, and you mentioned earlier, breast cancer is being diagnosed at an earlier stage. Colon is one as well. I can't remember how this happened, but someone mentioned something on Facebook. It was somebody I knew, and I commented, and then a doctor commented and like went after it, because I was like, get checked earlier. Like, I had another friend of a friend who was diagnosed with colon cancer and passed away at 42, which in that realm was early. And I think they were still saying, well, if you're over 50, get your first colonoscopy. And I'm like, no, start at 40.
Oh.
And this doctor actually lashed out at me, and I'm like, okay, like, we're on Facebook, like, relax.
Right.
I said, I'm not a physician, but I'm just saying, I've now, in my little world, I've heard of multiple sub 50-year-olds who have been diagnosed with colon cancer. So why not?
Yeah.
And now that I've had my first colon, it's like, the prep sucks, but it's like, it's not really that big of a deal.
No, it's really,
get it
really
done.
not. Yeah, just do it.
But
I know it's been on my list to do. I gotta get it.
Well, there's a lot of debate on mammograms and how early you should get the mammograms, and if it's doing more harm than good. I think, what did I say? Like, out of every 10 women that get a mammogram, like, you're only going to save one life out of that. And I think it all comes, because they're finding it earlier, so they're diagnosing more. Because the mammogram.
And I always tell anybody that's going in, get an ultrasound no matter what, because one other thing we've discovered through this is really no protocol for aftercare after double mastectomy. And if you don't know, it all has to do, like, are you in menopause? That changes the medicine you're on. There's all these different things in aftercare that if you don't know it, or, you don't know to ask, right? And so after she's re-diagnosed, I'm going, what am I doing besides saying hi to my doctor? Yeah, I look good every 6 months, So
I remember asking, like, how do I know if it's back? They're like, well, if you have any pain, or I'm like, going, really? Well, isn't it too late? I know. Shouldn't we be doing a full body scan? I know.
Yeah.
But you can't do that with everybody.
Well, and so I did. I requested it, and it was so rare that anybody who'd had a double mastectomy requested a scan of some sort, or an ultrasound, that they were like, you have to have a mammogram. I'm like, I got nothing to mammogram. Right? I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so I had to go through this process because of insurance and anything. I get in there, and they're like, no, we're going to have to do the mammogram. I'm like, good luck. It was medieval, okay? Like, I'm going, okay. And they found nothing.
Yeah.
But it was so out there that someone would request that, because I want to take a look at it. And I even actually ended up having a biopsy because there was a little spot that was there.
Yeah.
It turned out to be nothing, thank goodness. But because I was being proactive.
Yep.
So I guess I'll go to one more thing that you mentioned as preventative. So one of the things that has got me really vibed the last couple years is, how do we do that, right? And I've always said to myself, there's a reason twins, as vocal as we are, with a mother that passed away, we don't have BRCA. How can they use us to cure this, right? So what we've been working on is a healthy patient like myself, a cancer patient like my sister, having personalized vaccines. So we have the same genetic makeup.
Okay.
So they can give her injectable treatment. They can cater it to me, and we can monitor and see if it's working, if it's I mean, I don't know how they do that, but if it's found it and fought it, right? Is my immune system going to be fighting this? How's it fighting it with her?
Yeah.
So then we can have more data driven. Let's find a bunch of twins out there, but we'll start with us, right?
Yeah.
Take me, give me a shot. That's all. That's what I've been saying. I wear it at the 500 every year. Jack, just give me a shot. Give me a try.
Yeah.
So Dr. Pullman out of MD Anderson's been working with CVC and actually I think she's working at the University of Washington too, to develop a personalized vaccine, and hopefully we can be
part of the trial, because
hopefully we can be patient 1 and 2.
Patient 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We'll
see.
That takes raising funds.
Yep, for sure. So let's touch on that next. One thing I had, we talked about we're all born and bred Hoosiers here.
Mm-hmm.
When we started getting into research, the initial thought was, well, we don't have millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Research these days takes billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So if I only had 25 or 50 grand, like, what's that actually going to do? And actually had a couple doctors said, well, believe it or not, it's going to make a difference. I'm like, okay, educate me. I said, well, if Dr. So-and-so has this hunch or this idea, like they just can't go get a $5 million grant. They have to prove a whole bunch of stuff out. Sometimes they have to self-fund that, or they have to scrape together whatever they can do to get the resources to do that and then go to the next step. So if you said, if you donated $25,000, you really liked what their hunch is, that 25 grand can make a huge difference.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and that was, I don't know, 20-ish years ago. We've now had a couple instances where it's almost like angel investing on the business
it
side.
is. Yep.
We invested into that hunch, it proved itself out, and then they were able to go on to get the big grant. It's like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That is.
And I vividly remember, this happened to be on the pediatric side, this one particular project, and this doctor started explaining what he was going to do, and I'm standing there, I'm like, I have no freaking idea what you just said. And he's like, all right. I go, seriously, just like, can you give me like a 2-sentence at a 5th grade level?
Yeah.
Not a lot of detail of like what you're trying to describe. He's like, come with me. And I think he was Polish. So he had a very heavy accent. So he said, takes over to be like a large computer monitor, kind of like that TV. And he goes, just watch that. And so he puts a slide under the microscope and it projects it up on the screen. And he's like, okay, so what you see here, these are cancer cells, and I'm going to inject this, cocktail that we're working on, and so you're going to see this pink or purple, fluid go into there, and then just watch what happens. I'm like, okay. So we're watching. He goes, okay, here I go. He does it, and you see it happen. And all of a sudden, you see these cancer cells kind of like just start to shake and literally explode like it's a video game. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, I get it.
Wow.
And I turn to him,
Makes sense now.
and he has this funny like mad scientist look on his face. I'm like, yep, we're good.
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let's go.
That's
so
We're gonna make that
right.
happen.
Yeah.
It's so great. When I sat down with Paula, Dr. Pullman, and at MD Anderson, I was there for treatment, and she sat down, and I mean, she was scribbling out and I'm like, just shaking my head. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have a clue what you just said, but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And they get so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
know that if they have the funds to move it forward, if they will be able to do something with the information.
Make some level of
So,
progress.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I will add to that too, because I haven't mentioned it yet, but IU has been doing trials for breast cancer, utilizing different technology, but it actually brought a very well-known researcher, doctor from Ohio to come to IU because he had more freedom to work with others in research. And that he couldn't where he was before. And he had a long career there.
Yeah.
And he has opened up, he spoke with CVC, he's talked with Paula at MD Anderson, all things that made possible by coming to an institution that is truly looking for cures and partnerships and collaborations.
What else is interesting as Hoosiers, you guys appreciate this. So we have also gone now to Purdue and Notre Dame, who most people think IU because of the School of Medicine and everything.
Right.
It's the largest one in the state, the only one in the state. Purdue and Notre Dame are both also doing case research on their actual campuses. I didn't even know that until maybe 5-6 years ago. Yep. So we went to both those places and went through a bunch of presentations, most of which I were over my head. But here's what we found out. Like on the athlete, I'm an athlete. Like everyone's competitive. Like IU's better than Purdue, better than whatever. Forget the athletic fields. This is in the cancer research space. And I said, I know on the athletic field we're all competitors. But like, do you guys work with each other? Like, yeah, because we have to work with IU because they have the School of Medicine, and we're all collaborating. And Purdue and Notre Dame are working in combination on a couple. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just as Hoosiers, that's so cool. And like you have 3 major universities and they're actually working together. I'm like, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. You can compete on the field,
Right.
Yeah.
I say the field, I was a soccer player, so.
Yep. That's fine. Wherever.
And I will say too, when it comes to the fundraising side of things, Kristen being from the Today Show on the East Coast and a lot of West Coast people forget how powerful the Midwest is and how we come together to serve. And it's been eye-opening for several of the people in the organizations of don't count out the Midwest when you're fundraising, right? Don't count out the Midwest when you are looking for family foundations, families that really want to not just be an angel investor, they want to see science move faster. And, you know, as we look at some of the institutions that do all this research on the West Coast and on the East Coast, it is the Notre Dame, it's the Purdue, it's the IU, that are also contributing and all over the country. And so, you know, we've been able to basically grassroots fundraise, which is what I initially called Kristen, how can I help you? Because that's my bag. I love doing it. I'm not one of those that, there's not many that like asking for money. I don't mind, especially when I am super passionate about it. And you can see how authentic it is. And so, you know, I started this when I didn't know how much it cost. I'm like, well, how many friends do I know that could write $1,000 check?
Yeah.
Oh, I need how many of those? Wow, I've got a lot of friends, but I'm not sure that many friends. But looking at it in different ways of funding.
Yeah. I have a friend who got involved with the Heroes Foundation, and he's like, I'm not in sales, though. I'm like, that's fine. I go, how are you with this approaching, you know, these people about, you know, selling a sponsorship for an event or whatever? He's like, oh, yeah, no, it's no problem. So I didn't say anything. So he started doing it, and they were actually really good. I'm like, guess what? You're really good at sales. He's like, I'm not in sales. I go, what did you just do? You just ask people for money. That you're selling what we're trying to accomplish. To them. Like, we're all in sales in some way.
Everyone is.
You've been
in
with
sales.
Accounting firms. Even the bean counters.
They think
got to be in sales.
but they are.
Sell me on the numbers. Sell me on this financial statement. We're all in sales. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I always say whether I was lobbying or fundraising, I'm like, it's all business development. In one way, you're trying to get somebody on your side. But when it comes to the healthcare space or even nonprofit space, it's a heart, right? And that's why someone that comes to you, I'm not in sales. Well, it's obviously someone on the other side sees their passion for it.
Right. They're turning that emotion into action, and that passion takes over, and it's contagious. It's amazing what people can accomplish. I mean, you prove that out. You said, okay, I'm going to get to this Kristen chick. I've never met her. You know, she probably gets DM'd by whatever. I'm going to slide in her DMs or whatever they call it. The kids call it these days. And you just repeatedly did it until you got what you were looking for.
Yeah, she's a really good friend now, and we've been all over the country with her.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing about that. When it comes down to, you know, giving and, you know, asking for funds, and, you know, we've been a part of JDRF for many years, like just giving to that organization for 20 plus years. And I can actually see it working, right? I mean, one of my best friends, his daughter has diabetes, and she's gone from being scared and not being able to know what her numbers are to it's just on her watch.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
incredible.
To see what my small little donation has been able to help with. And so my hope is our work with Cancer Vaccine Coalition or Heroes Foundation, whatever it is that we can report it back to all those people who said, you gave $1,000, but guess what is happening?
Right.
Like, I'm months away from getting a vaccine. I mean, I couldn't have done that without these $1,000 or, you know, whatever you can give.
Yeah. And it's also kicking the stigma too. I mean, how many people see now with the little, I'm gonna say pump, but
the pump,
whatever the little mechanism is on their arm, whatever. Like, I don't think anything about it. I go, oh, okay,
It's
whatever.
normal now.
So different, so different. So
All right, well, as we kind of wind down here, what else would you guys like to share about the Cancer Vaccine Coalition? What do you want our listeners and viewers to know?
One question on that: is it U.S. based only, or is it a global coalition? Or there?
We're U.S. based, but she has lots of collaborators in the U.K. where we're learning from them. Obviously, they have a different healthcare system, so their trials are very different. They actually did one with pancreatic cancer, and it has extended life.
Really?
Oh wow!
But since it is public healthcare, you can. You know, I'm going to pick 1,000 people and you're going to get it, right? It doesn't work that way here. So, but we can learn from their trials and what they're doing. And so continuing that conversation is like, I'm like, well, can we go to Germany? You know, we're going to go get this, you know?
Send me there.
But that's also one of the things that Liz and I, as we went forward with CVC was, you know, how I want to be able to help more women. I want to be able to do what we're doing is going to affect the rest of the lives of women in breast cancer. And so as we were raising funds, it was with the thought of, I could raise this amount to try and make sure, because you can't with a trial or anything like that this is the shot for my sister. But that's small, right? Not small, but
somebody has to go first.
But if we're gonna move the needle, this needs to be on 100 people. 100 people need to be in this trial. So that was the goal in our fundraising, is that it would fund
100 people.
100 people.
Yeah.
So
and how much was needed to fund 100 people?
No. Oh gosh. Well, for the one, if you're going to look at just a personalized vaccine, and this is breast cancer because it's so much more different, is around 1.5. And that, once it's established, like you've seen, once it's gone to this place, it's going to get a lot less.
I keep thinking about it. It's like a plasma TV. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, true. When those first came out,
they were like, whoa, and I feel like the personalized vaccine is going to go the same way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when they're going through these trials right now, like, you got to manufacture it. Right. So once you even get through the research, you got to make it.
Yeah.
So you've got to find an organization or a company that's willing to make 1 to 100 vaccines, and they're not going to make anything off of that. So that's even a small part about what you have to think about as you expand it. But I feel like it'll be affordable someday.
The business side, that's a whole other podcast.
Oh yep.
And we're look at the people in our town. We have, Eli Lilly, you have Roche, you have some major players. That's kind of asking about the scale. Like if you get to the vaccine, that is not for everyone, but this one vaccine can be given to 1 million people. Okay, now we're starting to talk about volume that might justify it.
Right.
It should be justified in the one. Don't get me wrong, but purely from the business side, like we know what they're looking at.
Yeah. Well, I will say,
how do we get to that point?
That we have some people that we brought on in the team that understood how we got the COVID vaccine. If you want to see something and I'm like, if we could do that in that amount of time for the whole world, if we set it up, the collaborations that were done by the leadership in our government with private and public, factors and funds,
right?
We could do that.
I feel like I've seen articles where they've taken that. And if I misspeak this, guys, don't at me or
me
feel
either.
free, like whatever.
Me either.
Go for it. Fill up the comments if you want. Like the mRNA technology that they did to develop the COVID vaccine so quickly, that same type of process, if it's a process, whatever, to apply it to other things, including this realm.
Yes.
How can that speed up? And I imagine AI would also assist with that to some extent.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all used ChatGPT now for one thing or another.
Ridiculous.
I love it.
And like, if I'm writing a blog post, like, boom, 5 minutes, it's done, and I just edit really quickly, and what would have taken me an hour, I'm done in 10 minutes. Like, come on.
I know one of the things that I'll say this quickly in AI that I've seen is we have a friend out in California, got her mammogram, and they said $10 we could collect yours and put it into AI. So that means once her genetic makeup is in that AI, it can be available. So that's why they're saying, personalized treatments can happen so fast, because they can put that in and that's what Larry Ellison with Oracle was saying, is they're really the only company that can handle that amount of data. But
and the more data they put into it, the better it's going to become.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is very exciting. We appreciate you guys coming in and sharing this. Thank you for sharing your stories.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also.
I just hope it goes somewhere.
I can tell you that it does. We've had multiple guests and or folks who have watched and listened. This is not Joe Rogan. We don't have 80 million listeners. Like I wish we did, but we don't. But we've had enough to come back and say, wow, I watched your episode with so-and-so and I found it extremely therapeutic.
Yeah.
And if that was, 5 of those, then like, hey, that's good enough for us. We're still rolling with this.
Oh yeah.
Good luck to you.
Oh, thank you very much. My hats.
I was going to say.
We got time. Let's do it. Let's talk.
Well, this is pretty cool.
I'll just share real quick. I mean, one of the heartbreaking things about cancer is the treatment and losing your hair, losing your identity. And, when you look at yourself, that was like the one thing I loved was my hair. I love
We
my
had good hair.
We had good hair.
I used to. but-
So when I knew I was going to lose my hair for the second time, I was devastated. And I lost it, and I was like, I just want to throw in a hat. And I was just frustrated with what was out there. And so I was sharing with you earlier, I grabbed a hat, one of my husband's old hats, and I ordered some Amazon hair, taped it inside, and I wore it all the time. And everybody's like, I love your hat. I love it. No one knew I was bald.
No one knew. You didn't look sick.
I didn't look sick, which
for
is
a female
key.
that puts on a hat, it's like, oh, she's got cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
a turban or a scarf.
right,
And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't wear that when I have
wig.
hair. Why would I wear it now?
No, yeah.
And so, long story short, I have a business that's 2 years in the making, hoping to launch in October 2026, Lizzie Lou. And we're designing hats that have a removable insert of hair. I've got a couple here in the studio. My cousin's artwork is on the front.
Oh, cool.
And the key thing is that it's a trucker hat, so it's open in the back, which is hard to find. Anything like that without having to wear a wig, like a full wig on your hair, then you put your hat. It itches, it's hot. What I have here is the hair is not on your head, it is
Okay.
on the hat.
Yep.
So it'll snap in and out. We'll have 4 different colors, and it's real hair, so you'll be able to curl it. We will offer the hat without the snaps, so we're trying to create crews out there. So a lot of times when someone's diagnosed, from what I've seen with any cancers, like how can you help them? So going in and a group of girlfriends or whatever grabs, 6 hats and they all pitch in on the hair and you're all part of her crew. And so I have my crew around me and they're the ones that are helping me put this product out there.
Cool.
Yes,
Doesn't
and
exist.
Yeah.
And it's actually since we've been marketing it and we were out in LA and for women with propecia as well. And so the thing is that it looks so great and it makes you feel so great. I've seen it, the difference of when she started this, and to be able to, I mean, she's not supposed to, but like she goes to a Colts game, she's going to throw her hair in her Colts hat, right?
Yeah.
So eventually we'll be getting.
We'll get there. We'll have some Colts. We'll get some
I mean, I
college
might
stuff.
get one and let
There you go.
it flow with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
I've
it.
had
Please,
some
I like
men
it.
ask me
Yep.
about it. I'm like, absolutely.
Wait, Vince, when did you get the mullet?
I've always had it. I just kept it under wraps.
I'll rock it to the race.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, so
Well, as I told you before, let us know as this progresses and we're ready to roll. Heroes is happy to help market it however
that'd
you
be
need us.
great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. We are donating, like I said, too, for every 10 hat and hair combo sold, we'll donate to Little Red Door Cancer Agency
Great.
here in Indy. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I guess as a side to that, if you know of some folks that could use some, and if they don't have the funds or whatever the case may be, let us know there too.
Oh,
Maybe
that'd be-
we go in and we just buy, 10, 20, whatever, and donate them to that
That would
group
be
to
great. Yes, I'll
help
let you
get
know.
some folks set
yeah.
up.
I really want to help a lot of people. So.
I'm so glad we were introduced. I did not know about the Heroes Foundation until this was sent my way, and
they have the best gala.
I've got to go. When is the gala?
We just had it.
They
in
just had
January,
it.
Yeah,
but
this year.
It'll be the last Saturday in January.
January.
27th.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
27.
right.
We'll keep you
The
guys
guy
posted.
that runs the
Harry?
auction.
Oh, Harry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, Al and I
Fantastic.
might have to come back from Florida next year.
Yeah,
for
you
that.
sure.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Leave the RV behind. Catch your
Yes.
flight back.
Get your flight back.
Actually, so a funny story. This year was when they had that snowstorm here. We
Yep.
had like, 8
Oh,
or
yeah,
10
that's
inches or whatever it
right.
was
Yeah.
that night. Great timing. But Harry was in. He lives in New York.
Oh, that's right. He had
Yep.
to do it virtually,
And
didn't
James was our guest, lives in Portugal, but also from the UK. They were here. Both got flights the next day, got canceled. So we're literally, the two of them and my family went to my parents' house Sunday night and had dinner
Yeah.
because they were snowed in till Monday. It
Oh
ended up
my
being really
gosh.
cool and fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah, it
is
was,
what it is.
it was fine. We just extended our hotel stay for
Right.
my wife and I down there. It's
Oh,
just
good.
little staycation. The kids were at the grandparents, so it made it easy.
that's
Yeah.
Well,
That's
it was
good.
about
Good
it was
staycation.
in the 70s where we were.
Oh,
stop
I
it.
watched from afar.
Stop
That's
it.
fine.
Hey, Chris, hit the mute button when I tell you to fuck off.
Bleep.
That's when Liz was like, "I'm regretting a lot of life decisions right now."
It's never too late.
What am I doing here?
All right. Well,
Anyways,
thanks
it's been
again,
great.
guys, for making
Yeah,
the time
thank
and
you.
joining us today.
Okay.
We greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it. And
Sure. Thank
we'll
you.
continue to share the story on this. Also, Cancer Vaccine Coalition.
Yep.
Get that information out there.
All
Yep.
right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And thank all you guys for joining us on this episode of the Summits Podcast. We appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to join us from wherever you get your podcasts. Also, don't forget, if you're on the Heroes Foundation YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, add some comments, poke fun at me. I'm used to it. It's all good.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. And don't forget, guys, all this is in the name of Beat Cancer.
Beat it.
Beat it.